Welcome back to the show. Why was XRP created? I think you're going to get a great idea in this video. Somebody roll that beautiful intro. We're closer than ever.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. As you can see, we're off by 6% in the 24-hour at 58 cents right now. But don't fear, so is the entire market. Just refresh this really quickly. $2.24 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off 4.8% in the last 24. You can see 61,000 plus for Bitcoin, 2,400 plus for Ethereum, 119 billion plus market cap for Tether, USDC 35 billion plus, XRP again 58 cents, off 6.1 in the 24, Ethereum off 5.3. The whole market is down, obviously, you know what I mean? So let's not run away with anything today, but you know, we know that there has been some geopolitical events and conflicts kicking up around the world, and I do believe it plays a role here, a much bigger role than you may think. Stay with me. As we talked in the first video this morning, if you missed it, please go watch it. It is the filing for a United States XRP spot ETF. And it is from Bitwise, ladies and gentlemen, and we're super excited. There will be tons more. Brad Garlinghouse responds here. First Bitcoin, then ETH. It was only a matter of time. This move underscores the growing trust and integration of digital assets like XRP into traditional finance, marking the continued adoption and maturation of the crypto market. I sense this is just the beginning. So do I. And in fact, he's right. Canary Capital has now also filed for an XRP spot ETF. When BlackRock, when Fidelity, right? All of it. So here we see as a little hunt, and as Cowboy Crypto is so good at doing, he digs down a little bit here and says Canary Capital was established by Stephen McClurg, who is known for his previous role as co-founder of Chief Investment Officer of Valkyrie Funds and Valkyrie Digital Assets, who is backed by Coinbase and BNY Mellon. He's vice chair at Valkyrie was Will McDonough, who an ex-executive of Goldman Sachs and created the first ever smart contract adjudication protocol for blockchain transactions. How about that one? Yeah, you know, the list goes on and on here. Mike Hayden is also listed as an angel investor at Valkyrie, who is a partner at A16Z, where Bill Hinman is an advisory partner. And we all know who Bill Hinman is. Eleanor Tarrant reminds all of us, October 7th, that's how long the SEC has to file an appeal if there's going to be one. And, you know, I think this thing goes all the way to Supreme Court. But if it doesn't, it may be the biggest signal that we are close to getting legislation. Because if we don't see an appeal, I feel like that is a big signal that Congress is going to handle it with legislation. So we'll see what happens here. This is Paul Barron right here. Shout out to DAI for this clip. Take a quick listen to what he says.
One of the big events, of course, is happening next week. That's October 7th. Let me zoom in on that right there. The deadline looms for the SEC appeal to the Ripple ruling. And I don't know, do you guys think that it's going to happen? Do we get an appeal by the SEC? Drop some comments down below. I'd love to get kind of your feedback. Our team says no, we don't think there's going to be appeal. If there is one, something is out of balance, and we'll see how it plays out.
We will see how it plays out, and it is the one thing I would love to be wrong about. So I am happy to be wrong on this matter. However, reminding everyone that the stalled Crypto Fit 21 bill could become law by Christmas, says the majority whip of the House, Tom Emmer, and he suggested it could happen by attaching parts like the stablecoin portion of the bill to a end-of-year spending bill so it's less likely to get vetoed by Biden. We shall see. We're not far away here if it's going to happen. And I'll tell you what else we're not far away from either. It's 44 hours from a government shutdown. Listen, Larry Fink, BlackRock.
we're 44 hours away right now from a U.S. government shutdown. They've been unable to come together on that. I mean, they're...
Yes. What do you want me to say?
I just don't know how you...
I'm not in favor of a shutdown. Okay, they're not listening to me. But no, I think that is. I think a shutdown for a country that has $33 trillion of debt, that is not a good outcome. When you have that type of debt, what are we telling the lenders? 40% of the U.S. Treasury market are owned by non-U.S. entities, whether it's individuals in a bond fund, corporations, pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, central banks. That is not, I mean, can you imagine you go to your bank and say, I'm not paying my mortgage? I mean, that's what we're doing.
And there you have it. And that is what we're doing. And remember, as a reminder, this gentleman here, CEO of BlackRock, has also decided to get into the stablecoin business. That's right. Over $10 trillion in assets under management. BlackRock's getting in the same game Ripple is. Ha ha! And Stellar is getting in the business of helping deliver aid disbursements on the Stellar network. I'm not playing this whole thing, but it's amazing. Shout out to Denell Dixon and Stellar for this.
To distribute monetary aid in stable coins to refugees. For more, let's bring in Denell Dixon, CEO of Stellar. Denell, good to see you this afternoon. Is this the ultimate promise of crypto? Is this why it exists?
This is why it exists. And it's so interesting listening to your last segment, because what this technology does is actually solve a tremendous number of problems. And what we're doing with the UNHCR and have been doing for the last year and a half now is really demonstrating that this technology has a purpose. And the aid is, it gets into the hands of the refugees within 3 minutes of downloading the wallet and receiving the text message from the UN. And then they can cash it out at a MoneyGram location. They can hold it. They can put it in their bank account. It actually really has solved a tremendous amount of problems just in terms of aid distribution. I just heard the head of the UNHCR talk yesterday about the fact that it saved them $12 million to be able to use these digital components of their work. So it's a pretty great piece of technology that can be leveraged.
I think an important part of this daisy chain here, from going from crypto to MoneyGram to account, is how the crypto is used in the form of stable coins in particular. And if you think about the way that the crypto industry is transforming, at what juncture is the stablecoin industry becoming more important than the regular way Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto community as we had previously talked about it?
Well, you got to remember that the rails are the technology are the rails. And so those tokens in every one of these pieces of, in every one of these chains are the secret sauce, sort of the way that keeps everything tight, that makes sure it ensures that there's security and stability in the network. But in terms of really transacting, we've always believed that tokenization of fiat and just tokenization of real world assets is the way to sort of make this all work together. You really have to interoperate with the traditional financial infrastructure to be able to reach people where their needs are. And so this is a great example of it. And you're right, it demonstrates that there's like such growth and maturity in the industry. And sometimes we don't always hear about that part.
Denell.
That's absolutely right. No doubt about it. Now let's keep it moving and remind everybody, not only is it great strides for Stellar to work with the UN and to disperse aid on a blockchain, don't forget, United Nations report says Ripple and XRP can advance systems in Africa. Remember this? If you're new to the space, you'll like this. Zange.com, a sustainably run securities exchange operated in partnership with the United Nations, announced today that it will develop a carbon credit solution on the carbon neutral XRP-Ledger. The United Nations is deep in bed with Stellar and the XRP-Ledger. Just know that. And it's important to understand that because there are massive geopolitical shifts happening around the world. We have a summit for the BRICS coalition coming up in just 20 days. And it'll be October 22nd to the 24th. During those same 2 days, Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse will be speaking to the Philadelphia Federal Reserve on payments. This conference with BRICS is largely based around the announcement for their plan for their new blockchain payment system. So we have the U.S. Federal Reserve, we have BRICS coalition, and the United Nations all aligning when it comes to using and integrating blockchain for payment systems. Breaking news, Iran joins BRICS for gold-backed currency. Uh-oh, you mean the same Iran that just did this to Israel? Right? You remember, it just happened. Massive attack. That's what's got all the markets down. Well, remember, gold has been hitting new all-time highs, and you can get gold on milesfranklin.com. Just put info@milesfranklin.com and put dig gold in the subject box. Ask for the special pricing list. That's what you're going to get. It's amazing. Any precious metals you want. But here we see gold has been setting new highs, but here the chart shows from EdGrad Crypto's point of view that the strikes were already priced in. So now we're seeing the adverse effect to the markets right now for that, but stay tuned. We're going to see more. But coming back to Iran joins BRICS for gold-backed currency, aiming to challenge dollar dominance. If we go down into this thing, Russian Prime Minister echoed this sentiment, highlighting the rapid growth in bilateral trade over recent months, stressing the vast, untapped potential for even closer economic ties. He pointed out critical sectors like energy, agriculture, transportation, healthcare as key areas where collaboration could expand, adding that Russia is eager to see Iran fully integrated into the BRICS framework. So they haven't joined per se, but they want them to. And we know that in this next summit, we're expecting somewhere around 10 or so countries to join, and we saw some join at the last summit. So this is getting very interesting. Remember, the size of the BRICS coalition now is going to outnumber in population the G7. It is going to outnumber the G7 when it comes to natural resources and GDP. This is not a conversation the world or the United States can continue to ignore, ladies and gentlemen. And we also know that BRICS does plan at some point in the future, when they get this payment system in place, to offer a BRICS currency which could be tied to gold. And that is the plan. So we will keep it up to date as we get information. I'm expecting to learn more at this next BRICS meeting. And we see here now NASDAQ. It has caught the attention of NASDAQ, the BRICS alliance, on the fact that it could destabilize the U.S. dollar into a crisis. We've been over this ad nauseum. It's the point that NASDAQ is now talking about this. So if you thought this was, just a YouTuber needs views, right? Just some guy making videos, needs stuff to talk about because the market's slow. Well, you better not jump out of this video yet. Remember, Ripple has deep ties with multiple members inside the BRICS coalition, as recent as the UAE getting an approval for in-principle license. This is huge. We know they have deep ties to India, Brazil, and other countries. It is remarkable where we're going here, but it is also scary at the same time. This from Black Swan Capital said, for 4 years, I've stated that BRICS would use XRP, and I'm pleased to see this materialize. What he's talking about here is mBridge and interoperability, and all of this has been cited by the BIS, the IMF, and others in this space. And what he's pointing at specifically here is, why did the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, the largest central bank of central banks out here, confirmed that Saudi Central Bank as a full participant in Project mBridge, while it also signed a blockchain deal with Ripple in 2018. He says it's because Project mBridge will be utilizing the XRP ledger, given the unbiased nature of XRP itself. And if you go into this, Saudi Central Bank is joining mBridge as a full participant. Here, Saudi Central Bank has signed a deal with U.S.-based Ripple to help banks in the kingdom settle payments using blockchain software. You know, a long time ago, I'll get there in a second, but for anyone who's missed it, James Wallace, the head of central bank engagement for the XRP ledger here, said this.
Asset. Keep listening.
The native coin.
The native coin, yeah. Now, where XRP could come into play potentially is when you're looking at cross-border CBDC. So when you have a digital dollar and you have a digital real, or digital pound, you obviously need to have some way to interact cross border. Yeah. So I think the BIS call this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier, with our on-demand liquidity.
So there you have it. So at least one of the models of mBridge is in fact the XRP ledger. But going back to the conflict that we talked about that I think is currently affecting all the markets right now, right? Going back to understanding that BRICS coalition is now outpacing G7. I remember being told in my early days in the XRP space, XRP was created to help prevent World War III, which is upon us right now, I believe. Watching the clear push to drop the petrodollar, hello BRICS coalition, hello Saudi Arabia, we just went over it. Knowing how the XRP ledger complements the monetary system, hello mBridge, James Wallace just explained it to us, it is one of the models of mBridge for the BIS. My convictions remain true. We're watching the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind. And the rest of what we're seeing, I believe, is the physical skirmishes that are taking place to establish land grabs and power before the new digital economy is fully in place. This is a scary time, and I'm not trying to be a hypist or an alarmist. But if we find ourselves in a full-blown World War conflict, I can only hope that it ends quickly and abruptly. And I hope, because money is a huge part of why people argue and fight, as well as power. I can only hope that XRP serving this world can shine as a light to make people realize we don't need to kill one another in order to get along, in order to have a world that everybody can live in so their families can grow up the way you envision them, with the same opportunities and more that you and I even had when we were children. Nothing else matters, right? Truthfully. Look, I love making money, and I'm not ashamed to say it, but when it comes to understanding what these conflicts could really mean around the world, it is quite scary. And I do hope, in the large macro sense of what we have all speculated upon, somehow can help dampen the warmongers so we can get back to a world of peace and joyfulness. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.